No. Welcome back to another video. I want to ask you one question. Is Pokemon Legends Arceus good? I mean, honestly, does it look fun to you? Or are you maybe worried that it's gonna be half-assed again like Pokemon Sword and Shield? Maybe you didn't like Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu. Maybe you even thought Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl were disappointments as well. Today is your chance to discuss things. I want to discuss things. Pokemon Legends Arceus comes out in about a week now, and I for one want to discuss this with you. We'll be doing this by asking three main questions. Is the general user experience good? Is the world design and graphics good? And is the battling good? Starting with the general user experience. It's definitely improved a whole lot compared to the first trailer. Things as better frame rate, more UI elements, more Pokemon in the wild, a better draw distance. All of these things combined make the game feel a little more believable and the world itself more realistic. At the same time, some parts still look a little off, such as in some of the battles you can even see some Pokemons floating in the air, and that doesn't make for a believable experience in my opinion. Simple things like Pokemon noticing you and then running away in a realistic way for once actually heightens the experience a whole lot for me. I do like the fonts and the UI especially. It all looks very slick and professional and fits the theme of the game very well. I'm a little worried that missions itself, and especially requests, will just come down to finding items, defeating Pokemon, or just catching a lot of Pokemon. In essence, what I'm worried about is things getting repetitive very fast. Either way, it all seems to work very well with the Jubilife village as the hub area, especially with more of the map opening up sequentially. And as we know, the further you progress in the story, the more of the map opens up. It all boils down to making the player want to explore and unlock more areas of the game to explore. It creates this cycle of exploration leading to rewards, leading to more things to explore, and so on. In that sense, it's pretty ingenious, keeping the player locked and loaded in the game for as long as possible. Now, one important aspect I haven't mentioned yet is the satisfaction level of it all. Of course, you can't measure satisfaction in an objective sense since it's purely subjective. However, I can at least hope for the best. And that means having crunchy sound effects and also haptic feedback when catching Pokemon or doing anything else, I guess. Now, they are very small additions, of course, I get that. But what isn't a small addition at all is the story. And you know me, I like a good story. I prefer a balance between something serious and lighthearted in a sense. Not taking itself too seriously, but also not leaning too heavily into jokes and such. Which, by the looks of it, this seems to strike a good balance of. However, it all can be ruined by one thing, and that's the hand-holding. For generations now, Pokemon has been plagued by horrible hand-holding, dragging the difficulty down the hole. I'm keeping my hopes up that Pokemon Legends Arceus is at least a little more difficult than Pokemon Sword and Shield. Unfortunately, I've already noticed one of the things plaguing the new Pokemon games returning once again. Let's just hope it doesn't ruin things this time. Now, next up, world design and graphics. The world design itself is a bit of a mixed bag for me. In trying to create a world that appeals to the semi-open world concept, the Pokemon Company has instead made the world feel more gamey to me. What I mean is the clear cuts of the region's climate, stuff like how one part of the island can be covered in snow and the other a desert at the same time. It sort of feels too convenient and thus gamey. Though I guess something being gamey doesn't have to be a bad thing. It can be a good thing, in the sense of it providing a good fun experience. Even if it doesn't serve the immersion factor very well, it still can be a fun experience to traverse through. The place I'm most disappointed with is Jubilife Village by far. Jubilife Village lacks its own identity, I mean. It looks the same just about from every angle, and all of the houses seem reused as usual. Which, hey, reusing assets ain't a problem in general, but when this is your main hub, I think it should be a little more unique. I guess that's what the Galaxy building is for, but wow, you're stretching it. Moving on from world design into graphics. They have definitely improved a whole lot since the first trailer, I must say that. Stuff like grass, textures and all have improved generally. Oh well, I guess not the textures when looking at those resolutions, but still. I think it's very common that when people are discussing graphics, they often talk about the art style without even knowing it. So what I'm saying is, the art style is a subjective thing. but the graphics themselves, being stuff like poly count and all-around polish, aren't up to snuff, especially when this is a new mainline Pokemon game. Or well, it's actually its own thing, but still, I'm not sure how to classify this game. When talking about graphics, the one thing that always comes up is performance, and that's stuff like frames per second, resolution, loading times. The graphics of a game are dependent upon all of these values for different reasons. This is why the optimization of a game is so important. An optimized game can look good while also performing really well. But an unoptimized game, such as Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, oh my god, Security Breach. An unoptimized game like Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach on the PlayStation 4, if you have seen that, looks good, but performs horribly. And that brings us to the Switch. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild looks amazing and also performs pretty decently at a solid 30 FPS on the Switch. Pokemon Sword and Shield was less demanding and also somehow looked worse on the Switch. It's pretty common knowledge that the Pokemon Company rushes projects like nobody's business. They want that money. Pokemon Legends Arceus seems to perform a little better and also look way nicer than Sword and Shield, if I'm being honest. So yes, the graphics do look nice, or at least decent, passable even. The performance boost is a nice upgrade over Sword and Shield. And that brings us to the last question. Is the battling any good? Because you can't have a JRPG without battles, right? So we have a mixture of the turn-based traditional combat along with this new real-time dodging simulator thing? No, but this is actually quite a good spin on it. Walking around in the outside without your Pokemon and then throwing Pokeballs randomly to catch Pokemon seems like a natural addition to the normal gameplay. And then even if you fail to catch a Pokemon, you can just engage them in a normal battle. I know some people might have wished for a true active battle system such as like Pokepark or Pokken, but I think this fits more within traditional Pokemon games. And the addition of the agile and strong attack moves just adds a little bit more to the strategy of the game, which I, for one, enjoy. And hey, a detail I didn't notice before, but I did now, is that all moves don't support the agile/strong style move. And now for the one big thing of the game, the boss battles, aka the noble Pokemon. They look just fine, and the way you battle them throwing the bombs is a unique spin on things which I can appreciate because I am all for innovation. Okay, is the coast clear? Can I talk about the one actual big thing now? Ladies and gentlemen, the EXP share returns just as poorly as it did in Sword and Shield. It's not surprising seeing it here, but it basically confirms my biggest fear for the game. There still isn't any difficulty options. How hard is it to still make a difficulty option? It shouldn't be that hard, just oh my god. Watch my video on the state of Pokemon to know why I'm so passionate about this and why I think a difficulty option is needed. Aside from the EXP share, the game looks very fun and the battling seems to be a nice refreshing taste of everything that's come before. But hey, that's just my thoughts. What do you think for yourself? I'd love to hear it. And if you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing or even liking the video. Thank you so much for watching this video of mine. I have plenty more like it. The channel has been growing like crazy as of late and I just need to thank you all. You make this all possible. Thank you so much and have a good one.